I need a moment for a family meeting. Things between you two have really gotten out of hand. You need to get to know each other.
What?
You need to spend more time together.
What?
For every hour without fighting, you earn mom bucks, which you can trade in for real dollars.
This thing is a gold mine. You better not ruin it for me.
What are you doing here?
Mama said you'd pay mom bucks if I drove you home.
We'd rather walk.
Get in.
Diary of Wimpy Kid 2, The Return of Rodrick, or Revenge of Rodrick, or whatever.
Rodrick Rules.
Rodrick Rules.
He rules.
Might as well be anything, man, because, that doesn't really play a big part in this movie.
No,
man.
not at all. It should be called the San Dimas Rules. San Dimas High School Rules.
Wild Stallions.
The title makes no difference because the big mystery about this movie is you're trying to figure out how does this fucking title play into this stupid kids movie where I'm like, why don't you just have a kid getting his ass kicked for every scene, just getting the living shit kicked out because that'd be more interesting than what I'm watching.
Yeah, I wanted that for this movie because this kid is so wimpy and he's such a backslider and he's such an irritating little shit. I was rooting for the bullies all the time. I was like, beat that kid's ass.
Really? Because I thought the movie should have been called My Brother's an Asshole. Because
it's like, okay, he was a bigger asshole than his brother.
Man, I was like, Jesus Christ, I know that, I've heard of sibling rivalry, but this fucking...
He was trying to kill him.
Yeah, man, this little kid who's the wimp in this movie, he's, if there's a part 3, it should be the movie where he grows up to, kill his big brother because his big brother just treats him like shit.
I hate to tell you this, but I read the books, and that's not going to happen.
God, but even saying that, though, because it sounds like you guys are giving this movie way more credit than it deserves. I mean, have you guys ever known people with bigger brothers and the crazy shit that they've been suffering through all these years? This movie doesn't even touch on any of that. I mean, the shit that his brother doesn't even give him enough credit to even be called a dick because it's so PG, so goddamn Disneyized.
I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
It's a kid's movie. You know that, right?
Oh, I do know that.
I mean, you really are expecting the third movie to be like Rodrick is dead.
But the thing is, kids do live in the real world. And the problem with this movie for me was that I was like, can we get a little bit more realism, just how a family really operates in this day and age right now?
No.
Well, you know what?
That's for a much better movie than this.
I think when you...
about that.
I see what you're saying. I don't think you're exactly looking for realism here because, I mean, this is a movie, but again, if I could just tell you what you're thinking.
Yeah, please attempt. Yeah,
I do that every night. I gotta explain to you what you want to hear.
And I laugh hilariously when you do it.
Because I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? I was like, man, all these, we talk about geek culture and nerd culture having power out there. All these fucking wimps, man.
Yeah.
Ain't so wimpy when they get together because they love these books. Because this is based. Now you said you've seen some of these books, Leon, right?
Yeah. Matter of fact, this one, this Rodrick Rules. I actually, after seeing the movie, I went and read it. It took an hour and a half to read through the book.
Why'd you read that? Was that on Oprah's book club or something?
Well, you know what? I was just like, I'm curious about this because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, no way this is this popular.
Did you have a kid tied up in your basement or something? You were reading this?
That's neither here nor there.
But you know what? For the next 2 weeks, there's such a thing as bookstores. They want to go into one.
Leon walked out and was like, I think I missed the nuances of this film that the novelization will tell me.
Granted, make you wonder.
The bookstores are disappearing so fast that I'm sure that by the time I turn around, it was just going to be gone like a mirage.
And it's because of books like this, I'm sure.
It does make you wonder because this is the whole series of books that are really popular.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh yeah, it has its fans. No, these are crazy popular. In fact, this movie even outsold Sucker Punch this weekend, opening weekend. Now, I don't think Sucker Punch is going to have legs, but nonetheless, I expected it to outperform Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
That's what I'm talking about. This weekend,
the home movies I had developed at Walgreens outsold Sucker Punch.
This weekend that just passed, it was nerds, fanboys versus wimps. Yeah. And the fucking wimps won.
I think there was a lot of crossover.
Yeah, it kind of blended in after a while.
You need to make a Venn diagram for that one.
And you were right. Wow. Bookstores are closing because I was just driving next to the Borders. That's down south. Borders bookstore.
Was it still there?
And they had all these homeless people out there with talking about the end is nigh.
That is funny.
Bookstores closing.
That's funny because that's where I saw Wimpy Kid. Was on the way over there.
That's where where I saw
That's
it.
where you saw it, yeah.
I walked down and I was like, saw all these homeless people with those signs talking about the end is near, 60 to 40% off.
Stock up on your Wimpy Kid collection now.
Yeah, I even went by there. There were people taking the window panes out of that place.
Damn, they took the windows for the
Brick
place
by
even closed.
Pulling the copper out.
But going back to what you're saying, this is based on a series of books by this guy named Jeff Kinney, and the books came out. He's been out since 2007. So now we had the first movie, got the second movie. I didn't see the first movie because
I did.
because Cyrus said he was going to go and see it, and I told him I'd meet him there, and I had things to do. So.
Right.
I knew than sit through fucking Diary.
Like sit on the toilet.
Oh man, you thought I was serious?
Okay, here's the thing. Compared to this one, the first one was much grosser. Okay, if there was one thing I will say in defense of Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2 is the first one just has so many gross out moments, especially with that little redhead freckled kid, Fregley, who is just repulsive. He's just so nasty. Yeah. Every time he shows up in a scene, you're like, great, I'm gonna feel like puking again. Just looking at him, I want to throw up.
He's got boogers. He's wiping on the camera lens.
Yeah,
and
pretty much. In this one, he's really barely in it. He's not in it much at all.
Well, I went to go see this, and forgive me for the last time. I was going to go to the theater. I was about to put my shoes on. I said, man, I need to clip my toenails right now. So I think he got it. But watching this one, I was like, what's the thing that's wrong with this? Because kids love it, but as an adult watching it, I'm just like, all right, I don't know what it's like through a kid's eyes, but to me, this is a bad television show that's made into a movie, and somehow is able to tap into that audience and make a lot of money, so they keep making them, and they don't have to really up the quality, because this movie is the equivalent of mugging. The actors don't mug. This movie mugs.
Yeah.
Every reaction shot in here is an overreaction. Every response is it was an over response to something. I mean, everything.
Every joke is ancient.
Yeah.
Holy shit, they are pulling stuff out of the joke books you had when you were a kid. Totally Tasteless Jokes, volume 0.
But you know what? But you know what? That shit was funny. With this, no, it is. It's
Was
like
it?
It's yes, it was. That's where I got all my humor from. But
explains
but the thing is that. With this movie, I mean, it really was like a really shitty version of Malcolm in the Middle with with no
a good way to put it.
Yeah, with no brain behind it, actually. Because I was just like, wow, who is this? Who is this movie really catering to? Because I mean, I think I've seen Disney shows that are a little bit more. It's just a little bit more. I don't know, just the humor and everything about them. Like even with the parental characters, there's more dimension to them than.
See, that's
than
what I thought when I was watching. I was like, this looks like a bad Disney Channel TV show. I mean, not even like a decent Disney Channel show.
No.
It's like,
Right. Not even one of the Disney Channel movies, but like one of their TV episodes.
One of the TV shows.
And not even one of the good ones. The thing is, it's funny because in the book, the characters are drawn like stick figures, so it only makes sense that the movie would have so little dimension to it. It's weird because reading the book, there's like so much that they left out. It's almost like it gave me this feeling like somebody already had this script around. It's just a script that's been laying in a drawer and say, hey, we got the rights to do Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That thing you wrote, we ain't got time to like draft a new script. Take what you did and adapt it to this book as best you can. Because there's a lot of plot elements here, like the new girl that Gregory's in love with, this whole magic show, the importance of the talent show, not really part of the book. I mean, there is a talent show in the book, but it's such a small part of it. It's like they just took like a couple of things and blew them up to make the whole movie.
Well, you're mentioning all these characters. If anybody who's not familiar with these books, like me, I don't know. All I know about this whole thing is what I saw in this movie. But it centers on a kid named Greg Heffy.
Yeah,
and his little fat ass friend, Rowley.
He has his friend Rowley. Whenever you got a wimpy kid, he's always got a best friend.
He's got to have comic relief.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing says comic relief like fat.
Well, he's a little dork.
Poncho.
And just like girls who are like not all that cute, they have to have the much not as cute friend with them. The much nastier looking dorkier. So
he's the Chris
gotta hang out with the dorkier.
Yeah, he's
guy.
the Chris Farley.
He's the Chris Farley of the group.
It's kind of like everybody hates Chris except without the good writing or any funny
So you
jokes.
got Greg and Rowley, played by Zachary Gordon and Robert Capron, respectively, and they are returning to middle school after the summer. And middle school has just been hell for them. But they're thinking like, you know what? We're not seventh graders anymore.
No worse, they are seventh graders.
I guess. Does middle school start at sixth grade now?
Yeah, middle school is 6th through 8th.
God damn, I got my ass beat too early, man. Jesus Christ.
Well, back when we were kids, it was junior high, and that was 7th through 9th.
I know. I was like, what? Why did they change it from middle school to junior high?
have no idea.
It's like just like this movie. Like middle school just sounds safe.
See, we weren't considered middle school until I got to like 7th grade. That was my first year. So 6th grade now is middle school.
Yeah.
Also, actually, I got a deal. They got their ass beat early then. It's like, well,
Sure.
yeah, okay.
They pulled me out of my learning capsule when I was 16.
So they are returning to middle school of some sort, and they're thinking like, all right, well, at least we're not the freshmen of the middle school. We're not going to get. We can actually go in and kind of probably beat other people's asses, but then they quickly realize, we're kind of wimpy. We can't get girls. They're trying to get a little hard-ons, but they're like, hey, we can't get girls now. We are still getting laughed at by certain people, and Zachary is still getting beat. I mean, Gregory is still, that's a kid, that's the actor's name.
Yeah.
Gregory is still getting his ass beat by his big brother, Rodrick.
In fact, his school would probably be just like he wanted it to be, like his imagination, if it wasn't for his big brother, who is like the worst bully in the world, who just is practically stalking him with evil shit to do to him, to humiliate him in public and to hurt him and lock him downstairs during a party and all kinds of shitty stuff.
And when his brother's not doing foul shit to him, his brother still has the stink of the shit that he's done in school. Like teachers say, wait a minute, are you Roderick's little brother? Get your ass up in front. No, I'm going to take care of this right here. Just stop it. But that's hardly a part of the movie because, they call it Rodrick Rules for a reason. They say that, like the parents here who are played by, who are they? It was
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn
Wow.
just looks like he would rather be anywhere.
You talk about that guy.
Steve Zahn is that person that you really want to come to and say, hey man, didn't you used to be Steve Zahn?
And he'd be like, shut up.
Instead of being paint on the wall, which is what you are.
He is now. Like that guy has so much talent. Now he plays.
All he does is just show up, make a face, he grimaces, and then steps out of the scene.
I've never seen a movie where there's a character that actually has absolutely nothing to do, especially when they're playing a parent who's the dad of this kid, where it's like he's non-existent. I mean, he really is.
I mean, while the old thing, the Disney thing was to make sure the mom was dead, the new paradigm is to make sure the dad is an idiot.
Or as long as you're that.
Dad always has to be an idiot.
And that's
Or
the thing here.
but impotent, basically, in his nature. Like, God, he's might as well not even be there.
And the mom is played by Rachel Harris, and I mean, listen, they're some of the worst parents in the world. There's a reason why Rodrick is an asshole and Gregory is a wimp. I mean, they either coddle to them or ignore them, and let them do whatever they want to do.
Was when Rodrick lays out his rules to Gregory on how he gets by on being a slacker and an asshole. He goes, look, just slack off, be shitty at everything you do, and they'll do it for you. And
pretty
like,
much,
damn.
It's pretty much like you want to be able to get away with things. Just keep in mind, our parents are dumb, and ineffectual.
It's about time, little bro, that you learn the secrets to an easy life. Rule number 1, don't be good at something you don't want to do.
Guys, use clean rags. Now, just give me that. I'll do it myself.
Rule number 2, always lower mom and dad's expectations.
Hey, I took a math test today and I'm pretty sure I flunked it.
Oh, Greg.
But I got it back and look, I got a C minus.
Well, at least you didn't fail.
But one of the things that they do say, they're like, look, you two about to just tear up this fucking house. I'm just sick of the fighting. You try to get along. They try everything, like mom bucks. They leave. That's the other thing. Why would they leave the house with these two together? But they do thinking like, oh, we're going to give you kids some time to spend with each other, and hopefully you'll learn how to bond. And for a little while, they do learn how to bond. But it's comes back to, some conflict where Rodrick begins to hate Gregory again. How does Gregory appeal to Rodrick? You would think that would be a bigger part of the story, but it's a very small subplot because the story really centers on, it's called Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So it's a lot of incidents of what goes on in the life of this kid who just can't catch a break. As you said, he has to try to appeal to a girl who has no interest in him. Why he's going with the fucking hottest girl in school when he he can't have her.
No. The only reason, as you brought up earlier, is because she's the new girl. She's the only girl who doesn't yet know he's the wimp of the school.
Yeah, but then
but he's such a fuck up. He's got no shot.
Don't say he can't catch a break. That's not really necessarily true because if his brother's not punking him, he's punking himself.
Yeah.
He's not a bright kid. And he just constantly puts his foot in his mouth and makes terrible fucking decisions. I mean, even more so than your average 7th grader does. That, like I said, who am I supposed to root for in this movie?
Because there are times when he can be a little bit of a dick.
Yes.
I mean, there's like an Indian kid in here who's like actually trying to be his friend. He's a little awkward, but he does something kind of shitty to this kid and gets the whole school in on it. And he kind of like, well, gosh, Greg, I don't really feel sorry for you no
Which
more.
I thought he was the funniest part of the movie. Actually, he was
Even
the
though
only
he's
one
a
that got a minor chuckle from me. Especially,
I mean, he looked like one of those owls from Gahul.
especially during his transvestite scene. But no, but this kid, yeah, he is such a fuck up, and you just honestly just don't care because I mean, it's at least for me, I was like, man, this is written so bad that they're putting these kids in stupid situations, only to have further stupid situations come out that just aren't funny. Where you're like, okay, this kid is such a fuck up and can't figure shit out on his own to begin with. You just want to kind of give him a gun and walk away and let the natural order take its place.
That's the thing. I mean, we're talking about how poorly it's written, but if it was written any better, in the next book, he would be getting a trench coat and a shotgun and taking out his brother and everybody at school.
Oh, hell yeah.
Before the cops put him down.
No, man. In
8th grade, that's when it happens.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, I mean, you feel sorry for these kids because what's going to happen is Gregory's going to end up committing suicide one day and Rodrick's going to be in prison.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That is exactly where they're going to head. And the funny thing is, the more you watch it towards you get to the end, you're like, okay, Rowley's been the fat kid in the comedy relief, but he seems to have a good attitude. I actually like to follow him and see what he does. I can see him, losing weight and getting his life together.
See, I can see maybe at some point, but somebody needs to be the one to convince that kid to go, look, you need to learn to take chances and stop being a little tattletale shit. Because he's that kid who I hated the most. I was like, wow, kids like that, they were banned for good reason from hanging out with us. Not because they were fat. We didn't care about that. We had some fat friends because they're like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. And run home and tell their mom, fuck you, fat kid.
He was
you know who you are.
Now, see, you know what, Cyrus? That's because you were a Rodrick. Because I love that Rodrick's all pissed off at Gregory, like, can't believe you fucking told mom. I hate you. I'm going to kill you. It's like, dude, you know what? You're the one who actually did the foul shit.
Yeah.
Why are you getting mad at me?
Yeah, that part where because there's things that happen in the movie which I did like. I mean, as unrealistic as they were. I mean, because this is a movie for kids. So for Rodrick to throw a party, it has to be a party that no fucking teenager would ever throw. They throw a party where what do? They're taking shots of Coca-Cola.
Yeah. It was like the Coca-Cola party.
They're showing you the bar.
On the bar, they're sniffing like Cheeto cheese dust. It's like, man, this kid would get laughed at for having this party, but in this world, that's a crazy wild party, and so and that's where the bonding begins. It's like when they start to bond. I actually, I'm not gonna say I really liked the movie a lot, but at least that's when there was something of a story and something of some character there.
Yeah.
Some sort of development. And I like those parts where they throw the party and they have to like clean the house up before the parents come back and they're working together. But it's only a little while before Rodrick becomes an asshole again, right. and little Gregory becomes a snitch bitch. and it goes back to this whole thing of like it's being flat. That's a problem with the film. Everything is flat, whether it's centering on something of a thin plot like what goes on with Rodrick, or one of the many other things that Gregory's doing. Because I assume like the book is told like a diary.
It is like a diary,
and so there's no story really. It's just little chunks.
That's it exactly. It's chunks, and it's about 30 little chunks. I mean, it is like, okay, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. Some of it's mildly exciting. There's nothing. I could see how it would be hard to write a movie based on it because there's not a lot of big highs and lows to it. It's just that what they did here is not it,
and that's the problem with the film.
Yeah.
What story they do have is marred by chunks of things that happen that either go away really fast or don't really connect with anything else.
Right.
I mean, because the kid is really trying to just tell a story about his whole life. It's not just about Rodrick.
I mean, the books are basically woe is me. Yeah, I tried to do this and have fun, but then this didn't work out. Or I had this going and this blew up in my face. Or I was going to do this, but my little brother snitched on me, or my older brother kicked my ass. Or I did this thing and I embarrassed myself in front of the whole school. And it's just over and over and over again.
Yeah, you just want to say take responsibility for your own shit. Even if it's your own brother fucking with you, stand up to him,
Yeah.
Do something. Because everything that happens in one way or another, looking at it, is kind of his own fault. I mean, his brother goes too far, but I think I'd punk that little shit too. Because he is a little shit and he needs to be punked.
But it's only the one thing that does make it frustrating
Sorry.
that makes Gregory sympathetic is like, he's that middle kid to where when he does try to tell his brother, his parents just blow him off like, oh, just you guys just get along.
All right, and all the attention,
and I've been there, so I was just like, man, that's I feel that.
And all the attention is given to like the little baby. Yeah, it's twins who play the little baby. I forgot the little baby's name.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what? That kid looks so goddamn disturbing throughout the entire movie. Like you're just like, okay, if this kid doesn't grow up to be a serial killer at some point, I'll be shocked.
He looked like one of those Robert Zemeckis Uncanny Valley dolls.
Oh, he looked like one of those Robert Zemeckis CG characters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I hate to say it, I don't think that the kid has any kind of Down syndrome or mental illness. It was played because, for one thing, it's played by two twins, Connor and Owen Fielding. But there's one part in the movie where the little kid is like, I'm only 3, and if you look in the corner, he's like got these tics going on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like, looking in the air like.
Yeah, I know. I was like, is this kid retarded? Did I miss something from the first movie?
The kid's a killer.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he looked like a fucking Chucky doll throughout the whole thing. He really did.
What are the odds that these kids, 2 dorky-looking redhead twins, aren't going to be at the very end of the next Harry Potter movie? Come on. Just saying. They just popped out of nowhere and suddenly, no, this
Should I be the next Batman villains or something? Because that kid looks scary. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, he is. He's a little scary in the plot too. You're like this little. I don't know anything. I'm only 3.
That was exactly.
Like, baby.
Exactly. Next book turns out a 30-year-old man used to be in the Navy.
Yeah, he's over there looking at.
Kid from Family Guy.
He's looking at. Greg is like, hey man, this kid. And that kid's got a knife. Like, shut up. Hey, I'm only 3. Oops, got the knife. Oops. But man, there are parts in the movie I did like. Like I said, whenever it seemed like Rodrick and Greg were bonding, I actually felt like, okay, this ain't great, but this could be good for kids to see. I mean, it's actually got some story there, but yeah, it ends with some of the things that I hate in these kind of movies. Ends with a talent show.
Yeah,
the big band.
No good movie ends with a talent show.
And there's no positive messages for kids at all until the very end, and then it's just, you know what, you should be loyal to your friends and to your family, right? And it's like so sort of happenstance when it finally gets there that it doesn't even really feel like a message. It's like he just fell in a pile of be loyal to your family and your friends.
Yeah, I'm surprised you found that because I was still digging. I was like, what is this? All this movie is like the lesson of this movie is life is nothing but a series of compromises, and that's it. It's like just so everyone won't get yelled at. But I mean, I don't know. I felt the movie just really shallow, just kind of hollow. There's nothing there, and there's it's like your kid almost has to have a hole in his head to appreciate it. Right? I mean, and if you really think your kid is being just the biggest dummy in the fucking world, then go take him to go see this. Maybe they'll get a few chuckles. I guess I don't know where from, but I just kind of found it just, I don't know. I was just like, wow, who is this for? Whose kid is this?
I'll tell you who it's for.
A dead kid?
It's for Hector.
Hector.
That's true. He was so excited about this.
Oh, I know.
Hector came on the site and said, and seriously, and we love Hector. Hector, we love you, man. As Dimitri said, please don't ever leave Spill, man.
I promise not to punk you.
Yeah, no, you want to. But Hector came up and just flat out told. Come on. But Hector flat out told us. Hector. Yeah, he's that wimpy kid that relates because he says, I feel that this is a slap in the face to all fans of Diary of a Wimpy Kid that you did not do a review of this movie. So, Hector, this one's for you, man. Give me some bullshit. No, actually, it's a low rental for me, but, I think, hey, look, I'm glad that the movie didn't try to have a message. I like gross out movies for kids, but I don't know, man. Kids, go ahead and love this all you want to, but if I was a parent, I'd be like, God damn, I just paid $20 to bring my kid to something they could have seen on TV.
Yeah. It doesn't have enough in it for me to hate it, but it certainly doesn't have enough in it for me to like it. I mean, I can appreciate what it does, and it's really pandering to a set audience. And man, did it hit its target clearly by the box office numbers. But it's like finding out exactly what you need to hit your audience of those young kids, those 8-year-olds who've read these books, and doing as little work as possible to do it. Poor Steve Zahn. It just hurt to see him
didn't it, man?
In this movie. Yeah. And he just seemed to be barely trying like so many people in it. I did think that the kid who played Rodrick, who looks so much like Zachary Levi, was freaking me out.
I know. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah. It's like if they were to do like the Teenage Adventures of Chuck, he would be the guy. But I thought he was actually like putting something into it.
His name is Devin Bostic, and I thought that actually he was good. His character's an asshole, but I thought he was good.
And
all these
character.
kids are actually good, but they are directed so broadly that they all come across as bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the kid Zachary played Greg was just kind of.
See, again, I would love to like say that these kids are bad, but when I see a director like direct everyone badly in this movie, I'm like, it's hard for me to judge the actors.
Fair enough. You know, it's hard to say it's a travesty of the book. I just don't think the book translates well to film. But if you're going to translate this book to film, it could have been much better than this. Yeah, it's like a low-end Disney Channel movie sitcom. I give it a low rental.
You know, y'all are even fairer to it than I can be. There was a point early on, I was like, it's going to be a low. I think that's what I gave the last one, was a low rental. And it's like, you know what? It's not like it's like offensive per se, but there's a point about 3/4 of the way through, I went, man, I don't remember the last time I was this bored.
Yeah.
I mean, I can watch kids' films, like even films like this, where like we saw Ramona. I went, wow, that was actually pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
Ramona and Bezos. But you know, I mean, it was that similar type structure, except it was actually well done. There's just nothing to recommend about it. I mean, I get that little kids are going to see it because I guess they've just that familiar with a book that they want to see it reenacted on the screen. But wow, just read the book, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's some old bullshit. There's nothing I can think of really to recommend this except that it's not actually offensive.
Yeah. Who am I trying to kid? This is some fucking old bullshit. I mean, really, I'm like, you know,
is that a new rating? Some fucking old bullshit.
It is because
Hector
it's
gonna
like,
get you.
Yeah, I know. It's like, look, man. I mean, if I had a kid, I wouldn't insult my kid by making him go see this fucking movie and realizing what it is, because there's nothing there. It's nothing. There's nothing to learn. There's nothing to admire about these kids. There's nothing for them there at all. You know, it's just like fucking wind blowing through a bag. There's nothing there. And I'm like, you know what? If you want to fucking entertain your kids for the weekend, fuck them. If they want to go scream and see this movie, don't let them go see it. You buy them a fucking kazoo. You know, just give it to them and let them do their thing. Because I mean, I hate it
for the weekend.
I hate it when movies like this really like think of their audience as just really just stupid. I mean, and there's no excuse for it. I've seen good kids movies. They're fucking out there.
Oh yeah.
You know, go rent Goonies. All right, please.
There's thousands of good kids
movies. But this one was not trying. It wasn't really trying to do anything. It wasn't trying to offend anybody. It went out of its way not to offend anyone who may have had the slightest complaint about anything that they can misjudge as like, oh God, they're showing my kid they need to drink more soda. Oh fuck, you know.
That's true.
But
it's edgy as a circle.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, whenever, I mean, it encouraged some really terrible things, like when the older kid Rodrick, whenever he put on that fucking eyeliner, I was like, oh, why is this guy dressing up like a transsexual transvestite?
Well, when I watched this, I was like, you know, the reason why
himself a rocker.
Well, no, the reason why I thought Rodrick is so evil to his little brother because Rodrick is a latent homosexual and aggressive, and he's hiding, and therefore it comes out in frustration. So what does he do? He beats the shit out of his little brother.
It would have made more sense.
That actually makes a lot of
sense.
sense.
I want to see the book where, you know, it's called, you know, the Diary of Little Kid. Rodrick comes out.
It would have made more sense. Well. It would have made more sense if instead of his rock band, he was like reenacting the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah,
but like, you know, I was like, okay, that's
drag act.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do that. But no, I mean, this movie just it offers nothing for kids, and I think you're just going to make your kids stupider if you make them go see this.
Now I'm picturing like the little kid from the movie, the youngest kid, except it is Hector. He's like, no, I love this film. You guys are best friends.
I'm picturing Hector and 100 of his wimpy friends beating your ass.
Yeah. Right now, Hector's on eBay ordering a trench coat and a shotgun.
Swarming over you.
I invite it.
The little Harry Potter replica sword.
Yeah, I'll write a fucking diary. I'll put that in my diary and make a movie about it, all right?
You two will stay here together and work out your differences.
Yes. And don't have anybody over this weekend. Party at my place.
20th Century Fox presents Greg.
We have an opportunity to see things that no other kid has ever seen before.
Rowley.
This is what happens when we go to sleep. I'm never going to sleep ever again.
And Rodrick.
Can you explain what you're doing in this photo? That's not me. That's not you? Nope.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Rodrick Rules.